Back in high school, Tiffany, our former prom queen, had the idea of creating a mystery gift box for her classmates 10 years after graduation to see how well they were doing. Little did she know that the former valedictorian was now overweight and staying home with a bunch of kids, while the heartthrob she remembers had transitioned into a woman. She posted the whole classmate reunion process online, and after just one night, it attracted millions of followers. As she was choosing her next classmate to meet, viewers wanted her to reconnect with the guy in the far left corner of the graduation photo. This was an average-looking guy with thick hair covering half of his face. Tiffany unconsciously glanced over, but couldn't remember who he was. Her impression of him was of someone who was quiet, always looking down, and very unremarkable. She had to look at the graduation yearbook to even remember his name was Kevin Jong. Once she introduced him on her livestream, the chat went wild. Everyone pointed out how every class has those students you can't quite remember, you only remember those with strong personalities. Those who are quiet and unremarkable likely aren't doing well. Who said that? Being introverted doesn't mean not having friends. Seeing the tension in the chat, Tiffany tried to smooth things over while also deciding to meet this former classmate she barely remembered. Meanwhile, wearing a yellow jacket, was stopped at a red light on my e-bike and happened to run into an old classmate driving a fancy car. He politely asked for my number and generously said, "Let's hang out sometime." Not long after, I received a call from an unknown number. "Hello, is this Kevin Jong?" "This is Kevin, but who is this?" "This is Tiffany." Thinking for a moment, I added, "Tiffany, from high school." After a moment, I finally remembered that she was the class beauty of yesteryear, and I opened my mouth to ask, "Long time no see. Are you getting married? If you're borrowing money, forget it." These words caught Tiffany off guard. She quickly replied, "I'm not getting married, and I'm not trying to borrow money." Before she could finish, I interrupted, "Oh, I know, send me the link, I'll help you cut the price. I'm a new user." The chat instantly erupted with laughter. This Kevin guy is hilarious. But his response is so realistic. If a long-time friend gets in contact, it either means they are getting married or need to borrow money. Tiffany saw the comments in the livestream room and only now did she realize they had a point. Tiffany quickly explained, "Kevin, you misunderstood. I'm livestreaming a project. It's about meeting up with high school classmates to chat, and I was wondering if you'd be free to have a conversation. I will wait for your answer." I could tell that she already made the offer, so I agreed. "Sure, I'm free next Saturday. I'll contact you then." Just then, a shrill female voice suddenly yelled at me, "Look at the time. The takeout's freezing. How can you even eat this?" The audience could not hear the voice on the other side of the stream. Tiffany was stunned, and the livestream viewers were silent. This date with prom queen Tiffany was sure to be a flop. Next episode please. The initial intention was to see a reverse climbing scene of an ordinary person. Perhaps reality is cruel. Most people live ordinary lives. Looking at the comments in the livestream chat, Tiffany suddenly felt uncomfortable. Even though she knew that doing so would lose viewers, she did not care. She forced a smile and said, "I've already made plans with Kevin, so I won't back out. Besides, I don't think any job is low-paying. Delivery drivers aren't less than others. They don't steal or rob, they rely on their own hard work to earn money and support themselves, and they deserve our respect." These words were praised by viewers in the livestream chat. In the blink of an eye it was Saturday. Tiffany had already started livestreaming. The whole livestream was boiling. Ever since knowing that the husband friend of my Tiffany's wife is a ship, in my mind, the image of that classmate wearing a yellow jacket and driving an electric motorcycle to pick up Tiffany came to mind. Looking at these comments, Tiffany trembled slightly, and that image appeared in her mind. She couldn't help but pause for a moment. There's nothing to worry about, electric motorcycles are just a means of transportation. She said to herself in her heart. Not long after arriving at the meeting place, at this moment Tiffany saw a luxury car slowly approaching her. What surprised her even more was that the luxury car stopped in front of her, and then the car door opened. A man with an average appearance stepped down and smiled at her. Tiffany frowned. A lot of people came to chat with her, but most of them she politely refused. I looked at Tiffany with a confused look and smiled. Are you prom queen Tiffany? Did you forget that we have a meeting today? Tiffany was immediately stunned, and the livestream room was filled with exclamations. Impossible. How can a ship afford a luxury car worth hundreds of millions? I think this car must have been rented. You guessed it right. This car was rented from my house. In fact, Tiffany wasn't sure whether the car was rented or not, but when she saw that a fan said that the car was rented from his house, she had no more doubts. Who knew that it was just a joke from a fan? She stammered. Kevin, is this your car? Seeing Tiffany's appearance, I was also a little confused. What's wrong with this car? I was in a hurry to go out today, so I took a car at home and drove it here. As soon as the words were said, the livestream room immediately exploded. I don't know why I hate seeing this Kevin. It's obvious that he's just a shipper, but he pretends to be a rich man to attract the attention of our goddess. After confirming with the zombie, Tiffany directly ignored the malicious comments and looked at me, hesitating whether to tell him that his identity had been revealed. But he also wants to leave a good impression on himself, so he rented a luxury car, but I don't know these things. I smiled and invited. It's almost noon. Why don't we find a restaurant to eat and chat in the car? Tiffany asked about my current job. I said that I was a freelancer, but this made her breathe a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that I would suddenly boast that I was the director of a company that had been listed. Doing so would only make the online community laugh at me, and then I talked about love, and I told her that I was married and had children. After hearing this, Tiffany immediately fell silent. She and some netizens have the same idea. It is obvious that they have a family, but for the sake of face, they rent a luxury car to date, and then she asked about my wife. I sighed and said, she is busier than me, and her family doesn't lack her money. I can only support her. Hearing this, Tiffany almost choked on her water. Netizens in the livestream room became even more crazy and commented that this man was too fake, and he insisted on saying that her family was not short of her money. His wife went out to make money, but she could say it in such an upright way that he was shameless. But speaking of this, I couldn't help but reveal the amiable smile of a father, and took the opportunity to take out my phone at the red light and show her a picture of my child. Tiffany took it and looked at it with a face of disbelief. Are these two children your biological children? I looked at her with a bitter smile. These two children are indeed my biological children. Don't you think they look like me? At this time, Tiffany realized that her question was wrong and immediately apologized. I'm sorry, I was a little surprised just now. This scene made the online community in the livestream room even more curious, and they all said that they wanted to see the photo. After being agreed by me, Tiffany pointed the camera towards the photo, and the livestream room immediately started to go crazy and commented. Oh my god, so cute, these two children must look like their mother. Haven't you seen that these two children look a little like Heavenly Queen Yi Kursen? Could it be that the mother of these two children is Heavenly Queen Yi Kursen? How could it be? Heavenly Queen wouldn't marry a ship even if she was blind. Seeing the comments in the livestream room, Tiffany was slightly stunned and immediately picked up the phone and looked at it carefully. This is clearly a mini replica of Heavenly Queen Yi. Suddenly, she smiled and asked, "Can I come to your house to see your children?" Netizens also want to see the mini replica of Heavenly Queen Yi. Hearing this, I smiled and nodded. I'll pick up my children at kindergarten at 2 p.m. this afternoon. We'll go together then. Tiffany was overjoyed. After all, Heavenly Queen Yi is also her idol. She's very happy to be able to meet the mini replica of Heavenly Queen Yi. Soon the car drove into the parking lot of an old restaurant. After getting out of the car, Tiffany was shocked. You must know that this restaurant is a 100-year-old brand. If you eat a meal here, it will cost you a month's salary. Then Tiffany quickly shook her head. The food here is too expensive. Why don't we change places? Seeing this, I waved my hand. It's been a long time since we've met, so you don't need to be so polite to me. Moreover, I don't care about money too much. No matter what, making money is just a small matter for me, but my answer made the netizens think that I was bragging. This Kevin is so funny. Don't you know how much you weigh? You're still leading our Tiffany to such a luxurious restaurant. Although Tiffany didn't read the comments in the livestream room, she knew that there would definitely be netizens laughing at me. She wanted to tell me that her identity as a shipper had been revealed. Don't brag anymore. But she was afraid of losing face for me. I saw Tiffany suddenly fell silent and smiled. Okay, I'll teach everyone how to make money quickly. After saying that, I drove around in the parking lot, and when I saw a luxury sports car worth millions of dollars reversing, the car suddenly accelerated and stopped behind the sports car in the blink of an eye. At this time, Tiffany and the netizens were stunned. Obviously there were still many empty parking spaces, and there was no need to compete with others for parking spaces. The netizens thought that I wanted to cheat people, but my actions made them all stunned. At this time, the owner of the sports car angrily cursed and cursed. As for me, I took out 800 yuan and gave it to the owner of the sports car. I'm too lazy to find another place. Here's 800 yuan. Take it and find another place, and consider it as a friendship. However, the owner of the sports car frowned and took out a wallet from his pocket without even looking at it and grabbed a handful of cash and threw it in front of me. Then he sneered, "I don't need this car anymore. You haven't even been born when I was showing off." And the beautiful woman in the sports car hugged the owner of the sports car and coquettishly praised her beloved husband. "You were so cool just now." Seeing the owner of the sports car throwing money away generously, the netizens were all stunned and exclaimed, "Oh my God." Tiffany was also stunned. At this time, I picked up the cash on the ground and smiled at her. That guy is really rich. 6,500 yuan. Our lunch is here. The corners of Tiffany's mouth twitched. She really couldn't do such a thing, but at this time, the netizens in the livestream room were surprised. God. I've already earned more than 6,000 in just a few minutes. It's so easy to make money. I just tried this method and it's feasible. I earned 100,000 and I'm in the hospital now. I was beaten up by the owner of the car. Soon I waved the cash and led Tiffany into the restaurant. She glanced at the menu. The price was not cheap. In her heart, she thought that I wanted to save face, so I chose an expensive dish, but looking at my calm look, she was a little surprised. She felt like I came here often. At this time, I shook my head and said to Tiffany, "Tiffany, on the way, I always wanted to tell you something. Although I don't usually watch live streams, I think your live stream is not good. It's very boring and uninteresting." Hearing this, Tiffany was stunned. Why do you feel that way? She was a little unconvinced in her heart. I'm a streamer with tens of millions of fans. I shook my head and said what I thought. We haven't had any interaction at all along the way. Although we're just ordinary classmates, this is a live stream. Even strangers have to pretend to be acquaintances to communicate. Tiffany's expression was a little unnatural. Of course she knew these things, but the problem was that she didn't dare to ask. However, the reaction of the netizens in the livestream room was even greater. A ship is pretending to be a rich man. How do you want our Tiffany to interact? Our Tiffany is not interacting to save face for you. If it were me, I would tell him to his face. What are you pretending to be? You even want to teach me how to livestream. Tiffany saw the comments in the livestream room and couldn't help but be stunned. Should she tell him the truth? No, if she tells him the truth, he will definitely be very embarrassed. But if she doesn't tell him, his actions will only make the online community laugh at him. Just when Tiffany was hesitating whether to tell him or not, "Tiffany, I know what you want to do. First of all, don't tell him the truth. Now is the time when the livestream room has the highest number of viewers. After the livestream ends, we can invite him to join our company. We guarantee that he can become a hot chammer with millions of fans and his income will definitely be higher than delivering goods," according to Chu Shujia. Seeing that this Kevin is also a talent, not to mention that he is pretending, just talking about the way to make money by taking parking spaces, not everyone can think of it. Seeing this private message, the big stone in Tiffany's heart seemed to be relieved. I shook my head and smiled. Are the netizens mocking me for pretending to be a rich man again? Hearing this, Tiffany immediately widened her eyes. How did you know? Then I smiled and said, I also know that when we first met, the netizens said that my car was rented. In fact, you don't need to care about the rumors on the internet. You only need to know that those who don't live well in reality will go online to show their true colors. It's also because of jealousy that they express their so-called views. It's human nature to be unhappy when you see others laughing and happy when you see others crying. You are a streamer, so you should be more relaxed. Hearing this, Tiffany was stunned, and at this time, the online community in the livestream room was laughing like they were in a good harvest. They were laughing to death. Who did he think he was? An expert or a professor, and he was still lecturing others. A ship was envious of him. What do you hate the most? It's the kind of person who has no money but likes to pretend. If I didn't know the truth, I would have almost thought that he was a successful person. I didn't know that what I just said had made many netizens dissatisfied. I looked at Tiffany and smiled. It's been a long time since we've met, so don't care what others say. Be relaxed. Ask whatever you want to ask. There's no need to be so restrained. It wasn't until this time that Tiffany suddenly reacted. It seemed that I had been actively looking for topics all the time, and then I personally took action to teach the netizens how to make money quickly. Thinking of this, she felt a little ashamed in her heart. She took a deep breath, put aside the chaotic thoughts in her head, and asked with a serious face, Kevin, I remember when we were in high school, you often asked for leave, and you didn't participate in the college entrance examination at that time, did you? I smiled and nodded. Yes, when I was in the 12th grade, my family's land was confiscated and compensated with billions of dollars. Hearing this, the livestream room immediately exploded with laughter. Only those who are not doing well in school will say these words. Can knowledge be measured with money? Money can be spent one day, but knowledge is like a stream that flows continuously. I support not having culture. It's true that you can't. Rewritten and Americanized. 10 years after graduation, our old high school prom queen, Ashley, had this great idea to create a mystery box surprise for some classmates to see where everyone ended up in life. Little did she know that her old high school valedictorian, Chris, had turned into an overweight stay-at-home dad with like a zillion kids, and that Jake, her longtime crush, had transitioned into a woman. Ashley decided to document the entire reunion on TikTok, or Twitch, YT, and overnight her content went viral, amassing millions of viewers. As she considered which classmate to engage with next, her audience requested that she reconnect with a male classmate who was positioned at the edge of the graduation photo. This was an average-looking guy with slightly shaggy hair. Ashley looked at the image, but couldn't quite place him. Her memory was that he was a shy, quiet, and fairly unremarkable person. She had to flip through her old yearbook to even recall that his name was Kevin. Once she mentioned him on her livestream, the chat went nuts. Everyone started talking about how every class has those people you just forget about. Ugh, typical, said user Truth Hurts. He's probably a loser still living at home. Chill, dude, said Tiffany, our prom queen. Everyone has a different path in life. Seeing the chat get tense, Ashley, being the ultimate social butterfly she always was, quickly tried to smooth things over while also considering meeting this Kevin dude she barely remembered. Maybe he became a tech billionaire. You never know. Meanwhile, I, Sherry, rocking my favorite golden hour yellow hoodie, was stuck at a light on my electric scooter when I happened to bump into Jason, an old classmate cruising in a fancy BMW. He politely asked for my number and said, let's grab coffee sometime. Fast forward a few days. I got a random call from an unknown number. Hey, is this Kevin? Yep, Kevin here. Who's this? It's Ashley. After thinking for a hot second, I'm like, Ashley? Ashley from Northwood High? I finally realized that she was Ashley Benson, the queen bee of yesteryear, and I quickly replied, hey, Ashley. Long time, no see. What's up? MLM pitch or a GoFundMe, lol? Tiffany paused. Actually, I'm doing a livestream project. I'm reaching out to some high school classmates to catch up, and I was wondering if you'd want to be on air and have a conversation. No pressure. For sure, I responded. Next Saturday works for me. I'll be in touch. All of a sudden, a loud, nagging female voice started yelling at me, Kevin, are you ever going to get the Chipotle? I'm starving. On the livestream, Ashley's jaw dropped. Tiffany was shocked, and the livestream viewers went silent. Looks like we're calling off this project, folks, said Truth Hurts. I was hoping for a great reverse arc from an underachiever, but I guess reality is cruel and this loser will have to live the rest of his life as a deliver driver. But Ashley was not giving up. Even if Kevin is a delivery guy, there's nothing wrong with it. I have met some of the best people from that profession and they work very hard. No need to judge. In the blink of an eye it was Saturday. Ashley had already started live streaming, and Truth Hurts was at it again. I just keep picturing this guy wearing a grubby yellow jacket, pulling up on a beat-up moped to pick up Tiffany, one commenter typed. Ashley cringed. It's just transportation. No worries, she said to herself. Not long after arriving at the meeting place, she noticed a fancy car, a Range Rover, heading in her direction. Ashley recognized me driving the car and was stunned. After the door opened, I gave her a wave. Tiffany paused for a hot moment, a look of surprise on her face. Oh hey, Tiffany. Long time no see. Hop in. I exclaimed. But Truth Hurts had a few things to say about this meeting, posting on the livestream chat. Oh my god, a car? I bet he does not even own it. He is probably trying to impress you, Ashley. What a loser. Nah bro, the car is not rented. I know him and the car is his, said user, superfan. You are not wrong, I exclaimed. I only own 15 and this is the most common vehicle. Tiffany and Truth Hurts were stunned, as I suggested that we visit a cafe for a quick chat. After we talked for a bit, I mentioned that I was a freelancer. Tiffany was relieved, fearing that I would claim to be a CEO of a company. She asked about my wife. I sighed and said, she's a handful. She does whatever she wants, travels the world, spends all our money, what else can I do? Tiffany choked on her water. He is so full of it, said Truth Hurts. I am the richest person I know, and it is nothing compared to these types of people. Truth Hurts thought I was the worst person in the world. So I gave them some motivation, as I began to tell them stories of the most outrageous rich people from my social circles. I wanted them to know that they are not poor. I continued to see the online comments in the chat and told Ashley I bet these losers are laughing at me, saying I am a fraud, are they not? She was frozen in her seat, and I quickly offered advice. Look, there are people out there who can tear you down at any moment, no matter what you do. So just do what you gotta do, stay true to yourself and your heart. It's great advice, Ashley said. So what kind of delivery services do you offer? I shook my head and laughed. It's been a minute, Tiffany. Ask away. Nothing's off limits. Here it is. If offered $10 million and acceptance letters from Harvard and Yale, which would you choose? Ashley, oblivious to the chat comments, looked at me with a puzzled expression. So you just decided to drop out because you got a few million from the land compensation? I shrugged, replying nonchalantly, the point of going to college is to gain more knowledge. But for me, there was nothing left to learn. At that moment, Ashley could only think, okay, I invited you to answer whatever you like, but you can't just be this brazenly full of BS. Sure enough, the livestream chat was about to explode. At the same time, viewers were screenshotting me and turning me into a meme, combining the images with phrases like college has nothing left to teach me, making money is just a small matter, and my family's land compensation was only a few million. Incredibly, my meme quickly spread like wildfire, driven by some invisible force. Ashley looked at me with a complicated expression. She was starting to regret not telling me about my exposed identity earlier, which had led to me bragging even more outrageously now. Although the food at this restaurant was delicious, she was no longer in the mood to enjoy it. She took a deep breath and said to me, "Kevin, you mentioned that your family's land was acquired and compensated with millions, but from what I know, compensation is relatively low. Not much happens outside the city." Hearing this, the online community in the livestream room instantly got excited. "Yeah. Great question, Ashley. Let's see how he's gonna wriggle out of this one." However, I wasn't fazed in the slightest. What do you think is going to happen to me? Although compensation is usually low, my family's land was quite special, so the compensation was a bit higher. The online community in the livestream room wasn't buying it. "Ashley, don't listen to him. If he got paid millions from land compensation, I'll start livestreaming me eating dirt. No matter how special the land is, as long as it's rural, compensation is not going to be millions." Ashley didn't care about the comments in the livestream room, but was disappointed with my words. In her impression, I was honest and simple, but it seemed that even a simple person would become complex and cunning once they entered society. Afterwards, she lectured me with a stern face. I was too lazy to explain much, so I changed the subject, joking with her about past events. "Ashley, you still like to lecture people, don't you?" Then I asked, "Do you know why I agreed to meet you?" Ashley subconsciously asked, "Why?" Actually, she didn't think the question was special. After all, the success rate for meeting male classmates was over 90%. Seeing her puzzled look, I smiled. I was pretty introverted and not good at talking back in high school, so no one ever approached me. You were the only one who would ask about my grades and encourage me to study hard. Perhaps those were just small, insignificant things to you, but to me, it made me feel like I wasn't being ignored. Hearing this, Ashley blushed and looked at me. "I think there must be plenty of people who remember you." She didn't blush because of my words, but because the reason she did those things was for the class rankings. But she could never reveal that. At the same time, on a film set somewhere, many members of the crew were watching a beautiful girl dressed in ancient costume. The girl had delicate eyebrows, a high nose bridge, and an elegant aura. Every gesture and action exuded beauty. This ancient beauty was none other than Yuna, known as the national goddess. Perhaps those who didn't know Yuna thought she was arrogant and aloof, but those who knew her well understood that she was a warm and caring person. Many people were curious about who could marry such a girl. Regardless of whether it was within or outside the industry, Yuna's husband remained a mystery to this day, but everyone knew that her husband was no ordinary person. An entertainment company owner once asked Yuna to accompany him and threatened to ruin her career if she didn't serve him well. Incredibly, the entertainment company went bankrupt within days. This shocked many people in the industry, as that entertainment company was ranked among the top 3 major companies in the country. This also made many realize how terrifying the power behind Yuna was. At that moment, she was sitting on a chair, reviewing a script. Suddenly, a soft voice sounded in her ear. "This Kevin guy is so funny, a bad student claiming that college has nothing to teach him." Yuna thought she had misheard and didn't pay attention, but the soft voice rang out again. "Actually, I can understand why this Kevin guy would rent a fancy car for a date." So she stood up and walked in front of those 2 girls, asking, "I heard you 2 chatting very excitedly earlier. What were you talking about? Can you tell me?" Seeing Yuna suddenly appear next to them, the 2 girls quickly replied, "Sister Yuna, we were watching a live stream. A very famous streamer is live streaming a reunion with high school classmates, and the male classmate is very funny." Hearing the 2 girls, Yuna took the phone and watched the live stream. She saw an average-looking man smiling happily while eating with a beautiful girl. Seeing this, Yuna narrowed her eyes slightly, the corners of her beautiful lips curved. This scene made the 2 girls stunned. It was truly too beautiful. Yuna returned the phone to the 2 girls and smiled apologetically, then nodded and left. She returned to her seat and immediately took out her phone, opening the live stream she had just watched. At that moment, the comment section was going crazy. saying that Ashley was the white moonlight of that average-looking man. Yuna watched the livestream with interest, but when she saw a comment saying that the man was pretending to be rich, her eyebrows furrowed slightly. The surrounding staff all felt the atmosphere around her seemed to be getting colder. Back in the restaurant, a voice interrupted my conversation with Ashley. It was a high school classmate, Liam Underwood. He sat down with a humble appearance, but his eyes clearly flashed with mockery as he looked at me. His appearance lit up the eyes of female netizens in the livestream room. Ashley immediately stood up, intending to introduce us, but I spoke up first. I know him. We met not long ago. Then I invited him to have dinner with us. At that moment, piano music rang out in the hall. Soon, the piano music gradually faded, and the hall was silent for a moment, followed by applause. Liam smiled at Ashley. The pianist wasn't very good just now. How about I play one? I'm a student of Master Louis Bennett. Ashley's eyes widened. Louis Bennett was a famous pianist. Liam smiled confidently and slowly walked to the piano in the middle of the hall, enjoying the eyes of everyone around him. He slowly raised his hand, and his fingers deftly glided across the keys like a noble prince, immediately attracting the eyes of all the women in the hall. Soon, the piece was over, and applause rang out around him. Don't look at Liam's calm appearance, he was very pleased with himself. Ashley, what do you think of my playing? Very good. Ashley had never learned piano, so she only felt that it was good. After being affirmed by the prom queen, he looked at me with contempt. Kevin, what do you think? Without thinking, I said, it's okay, but it's still not as good as the pianist from before. Liam almost laughed at my words. He wanted to point at my face and say, what do you know about playing the piano? Some viewers in the livestream chat also felt that Liam didn't play well, but they were quickly drowned out by the anti-fans. At this time, Liam said with a sarcastic tone, then why don't you invite Kevin to play one for us so I can learn a thing or two? I nodded and strode towards the middle of the hall. Soon, the melodious piano music slowly rang out. It was the song that Liam had just played, and the livestream chat instantly exploded. Oh my god, does this Kevin really know how to play the piano? I've really been fooled by this Kevin again. Clearly, it was the same song, but I felt that the way Kevin played it was even better than Liam. In fact, it wasn't just the online community who felt this way. Even Ashley felt incredibly shocked, while Liam's face became increasingly ugly. At the same time, at the Beijing Conservatory of Music, a classroom was filled with melodious notes. All the students were gathered around watching the livestream. Don't you all think that Kevin played better than Mr. Lewis? The students whispered. But they didn't know that a middle-aged man was slowly walking up. The middle-aged man coughed a few times, sternly saying, don't you know you're supposed to be studying instead of playing piano on the internet? Teacher, it's not me playing it, it's someone else who is. The professor was stunned. He quickly grabbed the phone and took a look, his eyes flashing with surprise. Seeing his expression, the student asked, Teacher, how does your piano skills compare to the person in the livestream? The professor shook his head. I'm not as good as him. All the students were stunned. His talent at the college, he would definitely be considered one of the heads of the college. The professor quietly admired it, secretly marveling the person in the livestream style of playing gave him the feeling that Bach was playing. The teacher saw a comment in the livestream chat saying that someone was criticizing Kevin for not playing well, so he immediately snatched the student's phone and commented, I am a professor at the Beijing Conservatory of Music. This is proof of my credentials. This is my piano exam certificate. I can affirm that Kevin's level of piano is very high, at least higher than mine. As soon as this comment appeared, the entire livestream was immediately filled with what-s. The professor's credentials spoke for themselves. At this time, Liam noticed Ashley was staring at her phone in a daze, so he spoke up and asked, but Ashley was still in disbelief, describing what had just happened. After hearing it, Liam frowned. Is there a chance that the professor is a fake? Of course Liam didn't believe that Kevin's piano skills were that high, but to avoid being misunderstood as being jealous, he explained, Ashley, you know that there are a lot of fake things on the internet now. Everything can be faked. Liam's words made the anti-fans in the livestream chat agree. Liam is right. Who knows if that professor from the Beijing Conservatory of Music is real or fake? Now everything can be photoshopped. Who knows if the professor's documents are all photoshopped? However, what they didn't expect was that Mr. Lewis saw that someone was saying that his documents were photoshopped, so he simply contacted the propaganda department of the conservatory, asking them to publish an explanation. Learning that the Beijing Conservatory of Music had released a statement, Ashley was extremely excited. Liam, look. The Beijing Conservatory of Music has spoken. It says that Mr. Lewis is indeed a professor at the Beijing Conservatory of Music. Liam forced a smile and replied, I didn't expect you to be so amazing. Even the professors at the conservatory are praising you. His eyes flashed with resentment and jealousy. Obviously the person the beautiful woman should admire was him, but it was ruined by this Kevin. But at that moment, the initially cheerful music suddenly became more urgent, and the rapid notes echoed in the hall like waves rolling in a storm, causing people's hearts to move with the music, sometimes surging, sometimes nervous. Everyone was amazed and quietly enjoying this piece. Soon, I had finished playing Moonlight Sonata. I slowly stood up, the entire hall silent. After a short period of silence, everyone stood up and applauded and congratulated me. It turns out you were hiding your skills. You are like an artist that has mastered his skills. As the applause was now getting to the roof, more people had gathered around and were more passionate than when Liam played. From his point of view, I was like a general returning from the war. Kevin, you shouldn't have pretended not to know how to play the piano earlier. Liam smiled very intimately, but his words implied that I was playing tricks. I slowly shook my head and said, I've already said that I only know a little bit. Liam was speechless. Is his definition of knowing a little different? What does the guy think? He continued in his thoughts, but he had one thing that I did not. He graduated with flying colors, so did it matter that I was a super-uber performer? Who did you learn piano with? Ashley asked curiously. Just self-taught in my free time. Playing the piano is just a hobby of mine. I replied with a smile. Hearing this, the livestream room was in an uproar again. Perhaps this was reality. Playing the piano was a hobby, but eating was life. The facts proved that no matter how talented you were, if you didn't have an economic foundation, you could only bow your head to life. Seeing the comments in the livestream room, Ashley's eyes suddenly became complicated. That's right, he's not alone now. He needs to make money to support his family and work hard for his family. How can he have much time to pursue his hobbies? If you have any difficulties, you can tell us, she declared. After all, we are classmates, and we will help you as much as possible. Although this is a live stream, don't be stubborn because of saving face. Liam sighed, pretending to understand me very well, because it was not convenient to open my mouth because it was live streaming. Ashley also wanted to help me, but she didn't choose to say it during the live stream, intending to ask if I needed help after the live stream ended. However, he was spoken out of turn by Liam. However, she didn't think much, thinking that Liam was out of good intentions. Then, Liam took out a business card from his chest pocket and handed it to me. I took the business card and looked at the CEO of Underwood Real Estate Company. Seeing this, Liam humbly smiled. It's nothing, just a small company. But recently the company is busy preparing for the listing. At that time the market value may increase several times. I naturally heard the boastful meaning in his words. I didn't care and just replied casually. Seeing my attitude, Liam couldn't help but frown. He was very uncomfortable in his heart, but he couldn't show it at this time. In the meal that followed, most of the time, Liam was chatting with Ashley. Seeing me quietly eating, Ashley couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt. I'm going to the restroom for a moment. Ashley felt that it was time to get up and pay the bill. You just want to pay. I'm going to the restroom, I blurted out. That is what you mean, she retorted. I had interrupted her thoughts so many times and she was not going to stand by it any longer. The only rule she had was that she wanted to be the only content creator in the space. The expenses during the livestream are all covered by my company, so you can reimburse me later. I thought for a moment and didn't refuse. Liam, on the other hand, revealed a smug expression, thinking that I agreed so quickly because I couldn't afford to pay for this meal. The online community in the livestream room also mocked, LMAO, only brought enough money for 3 meat dishes and a soup, and then Liam ordered a few more dishes. Now he can't afford it, LOL. Didn't he say he had millions in land compensation? Can't even afford a meal and wants to let the girl pay. What a loser. In contrast to my ready acceptance, Liam strongly opposed Ashley paying, saying that paying was inherently a man's job. This earned him no small amount of favor from the female viewers, while the male viewers despised Liam's behavior, believing that he was a wolf in sheep's clothing with impure motives. As a result, the livestream room was immediately split into opposing male and female camps. How about this? This way everyone doesn't have to argue, I suggested with a smile. At this time, Ashley really hated Liam, especially since I arranged it and he wants to take over this encounter. Right then, I suddenly called Ashley and took out a discount coupon from my wallet, handing it to her. Ashley took the discount coupon and was stunned to see that it was a 90% discount. At this time, the online community in the livestream room were all shocked. Wow, that's so sweet. Even the craziest sales don't have that kind of price. I think it's probably related to his identity. Don't forget he's a delivery driver and probably knows the employees of this restaurant, so there might be some internal discounts. Seeing this comment, Ashley suddenly realized. After paying the bill, I suddenly had to leave, which greatly surprised Ashley. She really wanted to go to my house to see my 2 children in the afternoon. Ashley returned to the studio, but before she could rest, she was surrounded by her colleagues, congratulating her on the livestream breaking the record with over 1 million viewers online, and all of this was thanks to me. Ashley laid back on the sofa and looked at Zoe, saying that because Kevin suddenly left, she didn't have time to ask him about joining the studio. Zoe told her to call him, but strangely, his phone number showed that it was out of coverage. This was thought-provoking, because in China, there were no places where cell phone signals didn't exist. Now they could only wait until the next day for Ashley to start another livestream. After a lively discussion among the online community, she decided to meet a short, chubby female classmate. This time, she only needed to ask around a little to find her. The two of them agreed on a meeting place. Ashley waited for her high school classmate while chatting in the livestream room. Then, a gentle voice rang out. Ashley's camera turned in the direction of the voice. When the viewers saw who it was, the comment section immediately exploded. In the screen was a beautiful woman with NiceGamLii uses her hand to arrange her long, flowing, curly hair, and immediately brings to the viewer a feeling of enchanting attraction. Ashley really didn't recognize her. Even if high school classmates had gone through a lot, they would still retain some features from their student days, but the appearance of the female classmate in front of her was truly a complete transformation. Nam's appearance pushed the livestream effect to a high, but Ashley always felt that the other party's face seemed fake, especially the smile was a little stiff. Next, through the conversation between Ashley and Nam, viewers learned that she was still single and usually made short videos to record her daily life. After being introduced by the livestream, her account, which had only had more than 10,000 followers, quickly increased to 200,000 followers. Ashley met the demands of the community and learned about Nam's current life and work in detail to satisfy everyone's curiosity. But unexpectedly, after this livestream, the number of viewers when Ashley met up with her high school classmates dropped significantly. Zoe frowned and was lost in thought. Sure enough, as she had predicted, Nam, Ashley's high school classmate, also started livestreaming. But she chose to meet her middle school classmates. What was more, the livestream room even had the caption of a 1 million follower hot streamer. Nam was clearly deliberately piggybacking. No wonder the number of viewers has been decreasing these days. What was even more infuriating was that Nam had also gained 2 million followers by piggybacking. It was sooner or later that Zoe would have guessed that this day would come, but she didn't expect that it would be Ashley's classmate who stabbed her in the back. But Ashley didn't mind after knowing the truth. After all, she was just the first one to eat crab, and sooner or later, someone would follow suit. What was unexpected, however, was that Liam, Nam, and Kevin were not only high school classmates, but also middle school classmates. At this time, the person that Nam was meeting was Liam, a guy with assets in the billions. With a blink of an eye, she suddenly mentioned me, saying that my family has been compensated with several $billion for land expropriation, which made her very envious. Liam, however, looked disdainful, directly exposing on the livestream that he had once seen me doing a delivery job in a miserable state. As the two people talked about this, the netizens watching the livestream suggested that Nam should meet me in the next episode. When my name appeared, the number of viewers of Nam's livestream immediately soared. In fact, Liam had met Nam before the livestream. This mention of me was also a plan of the two to expose the fact that I was pretending to be rich. Taking advantage of being popular, Nam immediately called my phone number, but the subscriber you just called is currently unavailable was heard. On the other side, Zoe breathed a sigh of relief, seeing that Nam wasn't able to get through, which she was truly afraid that Nam would be able to get me. Right now I am very popular on short video platforms, and my persona can now be said to be standing on the shoulders of giants and was considered the godfather. But the next second, a question arose in Zoe's mind. What if? The woman began to exhort Ashley, saying that because Kevin had something come up to have to leave the livestream halfway before, she told Ashley to invite me one more time. Ashley was reluctant to see me ridiculed by the netizens, so Zoe induced them that this would also be beneficial to me. As long as I agreed to take on an endorsement on the livestream while it's hot, I'd be able to earn several $100 million, which is far better than being a delivery driver. Ashley hesitated for a moment and finally nodded. But then, Nam, after several failed attempts to call my phone number, suddenly got through. On this side, hearing the sweet voice of a girl, I impatiently interrupted her. I'm not buying a car, not buying a house, not buying insurance, not taking out a loan, not investing, thank you. Then I hung up. Nam was dumbfounded, and the netizens in the livestream room were also dumbfounded, but some of the netizens reacted very quickly. Kevin thought the streamer was a telemarketer again. At this time, Nam also recovered and called my phone number again. Afraid that I would hang up again, Nam quickly explained that I was her middle school classmate. She said that she had been livestreaming her high school reunion. Once I heard the livestream and middle school words, I refused her offer again. The silence on the other end was deafening. Oh whatever, cried Nam, slamming her phone down. She had enough for one day and ended the stream. Back at the studio, Zoe watched Nam's tantrum. He has to be stopped. Don't get too involved. The fans can be vicious, said Ashley, holding Zoe's shoulder. Company pays for all expenses during the livestream. I can write a check. Liam said to me with a smarmy tone, trying to save Ashley's face as the tab was coming. I considered it for a moment and then replied, that won't be necessary, I got it handled. Liam, however, revealed a smug expression, thinking that I was agreeing so quickly because I couldn't afford to pay for this meal. The online community in the livestream room also mocked, ROFL, only brought enough money for 3 meat dishes and a soup, and then Liam ordered a few more dishes. Now he can't afford it, LOL. Didn't he say he had millions in land compensation? Can't even afford a meal and wants to let the girl pay. What a loser. In contrast to my ready acceptance, Liam adamantly opposed Ashley paying, saying that paying was inherently a man's job. This earned him no small amount of favor from the female viewers, while the male viewers despised Liam's behavior, believing that he was a wolf in sheep's clothing with impure motives. As a result, the livestream room was immediately split into opposing male and female camps. How about this? This way everyone doesn't have to argue. I suggested with a smile. At this time Ashley really hated Liam. It was supposed to be a reunion date, and he just barges in and acts like he knows everything. Right then, I suddenly called Ashley and took out a discount coupon from my wallet, handing it to her. Ashley took the discount coupon and was stunned to see that it was a 90% discount. At this time, the online community in the livestream room were all shocked. Wow, that's so sweet. Even the craziest sales don't have that kind of price. I'm not sure. If the promotion is too good to be true, it has a high likelihood to be a scam. Knowing his story, he probably got it by doing under-the-table deals with people on the street. Ashley quickly defended, which didn't give a clear indication to what exactly I did to have the discount code. In any event, the bill was paid in full with my discount code. Liam stormed out of the scene in rage. The rest of the day was pretty slow, but with time, everyone had agreed to part ways. Ashley wanted to do a drive-by at my house, which I quickly declined. Back at the studio, Ashley returned in one piece. The live had blown every expectation in the books. No one thought you would pull through. It has to be a record high for your live audience, Zoe said with her arms crossed. Kevin is in the rearview mirror, declared Ashley. The group continued for a few weeks, with no real leads for Kevin. Now back in action, Ashley needed someone with a pulse and found an equally crazy subject. Her former classmate was ready to meet and see what the new and improved Ashley was all about. They had made arrangements for a coffee house out in Beverly Hills. As the audience started to pour into the chat, it was time to meet the guest. The wait wouldn't be long. A few minutes later, a female with a soft voice started to say hello. The voice had a particular accent of the area, so it wouldn't be anything special. The girl had her hair in an immaculate style. From the very first glance, you could tell the girl had a little work done to her. Nam came to find out that with fame, came opportunity, and was now a lifestyle influencer who was making her rise up the ranks of social media. As they started to chat away, the audience started to build with viewers that were eager to learn the story of the day. As the comments became more and more aggressive, Ashley realized something had to change. There needed to be an ending to this. As she started to close the stream, it wouldn't stop the comments and future impact Nam may have had on her. As Ashley prepared for the following weeks, something would start to turn the tide. Nam, inspired by the prior event, now started to create content that directly competed with Ashley. She was slowly eating away at the audience that they both shared, and there needed to be something that would stop it. Seeing his old classmate, and what had happened, Liam tried to get in touch to make an alliance. Now, Liam saw an opportunity to team up with Nam and offered his marketing skills to take the new stream to the next level. Together, Liam and Nam concocted a plan to bring Kevin back into the spotlight and reveal his true colors, and their scheme was set in motion as Nam announced the date of the next live, and the subject was no other than Kevin. Nam called Kevin and began to get ready to fire questions. But he didn't wait at all to hear what was being said as she was talking and cut her off mid-sentence. Hello, I don't need any cable, home security, or anything. Take me off this list. He slammed the phone back down and looked at the phone. Why would anyone even call this number, anyway? When Nam didn't get any response, she realized that a different strategy needed to be used. What if we talk about the kids? As they started to discuss and move plans forward, Ashley was contacted about some strange news. Her contact had found out that the other group had planned to do a hit piece on Kevin. She felt that she knew the truth all along and felt extremely guilty that she had let all of this go down. She needed to stop it, now. She thought there was something worth the fight. Back at the stream, Liam was discussing everything about to happen, and said, "Oh wait. I need to give Kevin a call." With no response, the two would just have to rely on each other to make the show go on. "I am sorry," shouted Ashley over the phone. "What?" said Kevin. "I barely know you, what happened?" He was on the verge of hanging up as well. "I have been in a horrible position, and feel like I have gotten myself into so much crap. I just want to come by and say hello and see the kids." Ashley burst in tears. "Whoa, slow down there. How about we just meet and do everything casual? I had been so busy with the kids as it is with the wife having been on tour for so long." Maybe we can come by the studio. Kevin had finally put his foot down and was setting the record straight as he spoke with conviction. A few days later, everyone had agreed to go over and visit the kids. As the cameras started to roll, everyone was expecting to see Kevin pull up with the beat-up car again. But instead, came a minivan filled with child seats. The children hopped out in matching outfits. A lot had changed, that was for sure. After having spent so long on the set, it was time for you to be with Mom, or so he had thought. While all these things were going on, Nam was trying to do a press release and made the subject to the next live. This would get very crazy. I was not ready to deal with this, and the kids are going to be out and about. We will need a solution for this. Maybe they all just need to meet. In that moment, Kevin received a message. It was his wife. It's time to come back home. She had had enough being famous and wanted her family back and to live a more normal life. The children were ready to explode with joy. She had arranged to be at the school right before the bell rang at pickup time. There was only one person driving a motorcycle nearby. It was Nam, who was ready to steal some viewers. It was time to see what the fuss was all about. As Nam sped into the school, a security team would stop her and tell her that the school was under lockdown. All parents would have to wait at the office area. But she was having none of it. This is a direct attack on freedom and justice. Kevin was already at the front talking to police. It was time. As everyone was ready to exit, a shot rang out. It was a kid with a cap gun. Get on the ground, shouted the police. But everyone had stopped to move. It was time. Everyone had to realize that their actions had consequences. As the adults rushed away, the two children ran forward to greet their mother. Yuna kneeled down and said, "It's time to come home, let's go for ice cream and all come home." She winked at her husband, and with his approval, they left for home. Liam, on the other hand, was nowhere to be seen and his online presence slowly diminished. So, these folks want to visit Mount Cow Village? The taxi driver chuckled, glancing at the address I had given Ashley. Ashley, sitting in the passenger seat, looked puzzled, as the address was a traffic guard station at an intersection. Nam, sitting in the back, frowned, vaguely recognizing the name Mount Cow Village. "Hey, driver. Is this Mount Cow really based around a mountain?" Ashley asked, curious about the village's name. "Used to be, but not anymore," the middle-aged driver chuckled. "What do you mean, used to be?" Ashley asked, confused. "Ever heard of Misty Pine Resort?" the driver asked. Nam suddenly looked shocked. Oh wow. Now she remembered why the name Mount Cow Village sounded so familiar. She knew about Mount Cow Village because of the Misty Pine Resort development. Most importantly, the real estate company not only built a villa for each household in Mount Cow Village, but also offered a substantial compensation package, some for millions. Nam suddenly remembered the words I had said before. No way, that can't be. She had always thought that I was lying. Nam? You all right? Ashley asked, puzzled, turning her head to look at her. The driver glossed over an explanation to Ashley, who finally understood Nam's surprised expression earlier. The netizens, hearing the driver's words, also revealed expressions of shock. In an instant, they were all discussing it. Upon arriving, Ashley and Nam saw me in the distance, riding my electric scooter. Further in the distance, villas came into view. What is this? This is clearly a villa area. The netizens, who had been mocking me earlier for not having money and pretending to be rich, were now collectively slapped in the face. In contrast, Ashley smiled at Nam. Nam smiled, but in her heart, she didn't believe it. In her opinion, I must have prepared in advance and rented a villa in Mount Cow Village. Everyone in Mount Cow Village had received huge compensation packages, and of course they all ran to the big cities. How could they still stay in this remote place with no education or medical care? There must be a lot of empty villas that were rented out for parties. But upon entering the village, an old man with a cane slowly approached, smiling at me. Vivienne, standing on the electric scooter, greeted the old man politely. Hi, Gramps. The old man laughed heartily, taking out a few pieces of candy from his pocket. Next, I met several acquaintances who greeted me. Ashley also smiled and nodded, greeting them. The livestream chat was immediately filled with comments. What? Slapped in the face for the anti-fan. This is clearly a relative. Soon, I led them to a large house. Before the gate, Ashley and Nam couldn't help but straighten their clothes. Suddenly, the gate opened, and upon entering the courtyard, they saw a luxury car parked inside. Ashley recognized that this was the same luxury car that I had driven when I first met her. At this time, the livestream chat exploded. LOL, it turns out that we were the clowns. Who still says Kevin is a delivery driver? I'll kick him twice. How could a delivery driver drive such a car? As they were walking to the front door, something strange echoed in the area, and from nowhere a fat black pig ran in their direction. Ashley and Nam were immediately stunned, but as they reacted, the black pig had already run in front of them. Suddenly, Vivian's cute voice rang out, creating a jaw-dropping scene. The black pig stopped right in front of Vivian, as if welcoming her home. I smiled and explained, "This is Vivian's pet." Then Vivian climbed onto the black pig's back. Ashley stared blankly at me, wanting to see my reaction as a father, but I was used to it. Vivian often rode the pig around the village. At this moment, a beautiful and dignified woman walked out of the house, looking a little surprised to see Ashley and Nam. After learning that the two were my high school classmates, she warmly invited them into the house. The inside wasn't as luxurious as the netizens imagined, but the unique style of decoration gave people an indescribable feeling of comfort. Just then, my phone rang. I apologized and told my mother to entertain the two of them first, but Nam suddenly approached my mother, saying flattering things, praising my mother for taking good care of herself and looking young. Nam's sudden change made Ashley suspicious, but she didn't expect that Nam was using tricks to extract information. My mother also complied with her words, telling stories about not living here when I was young, carrying a pig basket, cutting grass for the pigs, and feeding the pigs. Then Nam pretended to be surprised, saying that everyone here had received a lot of compensation. My mother smiled, saying that it was luck. But in Nam's eyes, there was a hint of jealousy. How could it just be luck? It was clearly wealth that fell from the sky. Initially, they were just a bunch of country bumpkins living in the mountains, but they unexpectedly obtained wealth that others had to work for generations to earn. What's more, what she didn't understand was what the investors saw in Mist Pine Mountain. The netizens in the livestream room found the news. Wait, I just found something. I just looked it up. It turns out that the investor who developed Mist Pine Mountain is a company with a registered capital of only 10 million yuan. Moreover, it only developed Mist Pine Mountain. This made the netizens couldn't help but think, feeling like the company was established to develop the Mist Pine Mountain. Ashley looked at the comments in the livestream room, feeling a little amused. But what surprised her was that what Kevin had said during their first date was true. Thinking about how she had wanted to bring him into the studio to livestream, she thought it was a joke. Nam no longer had the contemptuous attitude she had earlier. Knowing what would happen, she would make it impossible for anything to happen. She had been married and has children? How can I top that? The livestream did come back, so there has to be some content that could be used. But when they talked about my wife, Nam suddenly found a topic and curiously asked my mother, what does she even do? My mother sighed, saying, she only comes home once in a while. If she lives with her family back then, I would be great. The netizens saw it as a sign that I didn't have it all. No amount of money can cover the impact of what having no one there. The live then began to get negative comments for what was said and done, so Ashley wanted to pull the plug. It was time to come clean. She had to call back. I will talk to her in private and make it right. With the live off, you could hear both argue about how there were going to be repercussions. Both storms out after they had said their piece. But little did she know, the storm was already starting to pass as she began to hear back from the public that things have to be kept private and under wraps for the safety of everyone. A few people had to start speaking out. All they needed now was for Kevin to appear. They'd been asked to go to Cow Mountain Village, the driver laughed. Ashley, sitting in the passenger seat, looked puzzled, as the address I had given her was a traffic guard station at an intersection. Nam, sitting in the back, frowned, vaguely recognizing the name Cow Mountain Village. "Hey, driver. Is this Cow Mountain really based around a mountain?" Ashley asked, curious about the village's name. "Used to be, but not anymore," the middle-aged driver chuckled. "What do you mean, used to be?" Ashley asked, confused. "Ever heard of Misty Pine Resort?" the driver asked. Nam suddenly looked shocked. Oh wow. Now she remembered why the name Cow Mountain Village sounded so familiar. She knew about Mount Cow Village because of the Misty Pine Resort development. Most importantly, the real estate company not only built a villa for each household in Mount Cow Village, but also offered a substantial compensation package, some for millions. Nam suddenly remembered the words I had said before. No way, that can't be. She had always thought that I was lying. "Nam? You all right?" Ashley asked, puzzled, turning her head to look at her. The driver glossed over an explanation to Ashley, who finally understood Nam's surprised expression earlier. The netizens, hearing the driver's words, also revealed expressions of shock. In an instant, they were all discussing it. Upon arriving, Ashley and Nam saw me in the distance, riding my electric scooter. Further in the distance, villas came into view. What is this? This is clearly a villa area. The netizens, who had been mocking me earlier for not having money and pretending to be rich, were now collectively slapped in the face. In contrast, Ashley smiled at Nam. Nam smiled, but in her heart, she didn't believe it. In her opinion, I must have prepared in advance and rented a villa in Mount Cow Village. Everyone in Mount Cow Village had received huge compensation packages, and of course they all ran to the big cities. How could they still stay in this remote place with no education or medical care? There must be a lot of empty villas that were rented out for parties. But upon entering the village, an old man with a cane slowly approached, smiling at me. Vivian, standing on the electric scooter, greeted the old man politely. "Hi, Grandpa." The old man laughed heartily, taking out a few pieces of candy from his pocket. Next, I met several acquaintances who greeted me. Ashley also smiled and nodded, greeting them. The livestream chat was immediately filled with comments. What? Slapped in the face for the anti-fan. This is clearly a relative. Soon, I led them to a large house. Before the gate, Ashley and Nam couldn't help but straighten their clothes. Suddenly, the gate opened, and upon entering the courtyard, they saw a luxury car parked inside. Ashley recognized that this was the same luxury car that I had driven when I first met her. At this time, the livestream chat exploded. LOL, it turns out that we were the clowns. Who still says Kevin is a delivery driver? I'll kick him twice. How could a delivery driver drive such a car? As they were walking to the front door, something strange echoed in the area, and from nowhere a fat black pig ran in their direction. Ashley and Nam were immediately stunned, but as they reacted, the black pig had already run in front of them. Suddenly, Vivian's cute voice rang out, creating a jaw-dropping scene. The black pig stopped right in front of Vivian, as if welcoming her home. I smiled and explained, "This is Vivian's pet." Then Vivian climbed onto the black pig's back. Ashley stared blankly at me, wanting to see my reaction as a father, but I was used to it. Vivian often rode the pig around the village. At this moment, a beautiful and dignified woman walked out of the house, looking a little surprised to see Ashley and Nam. After learning that the two were my high school classmates, she warmly invited them into the house. The inside wasn't as luxurious as the netizens imagined, but the unique style of decoration gave people an indescribable feeling of comfort. Just then, my phone rang. I apologized and told my mother to entertain the two of them first, but Nam suddenly approached my mother, saying flattering things, praising my mother for taking good care of herself and looking young. Nam's sudden change made Ashley suspicious, but she didn't expect that Nam was using tricks to extract information. My mother also complied with her words, telling stories about not living here when I was young, carrying a pig basket, cutting grass for the pigs, and feeding the pigs. Then Nam pretended to be surprised, saying that everyone here had received a lot of compensation. My mother smiled, saying that it was luck. But in Nam's eyes, there was a hint of jealousy. How could it just be luck? It was clearly wealth that fell from the sky. Initially, they were just a bunch of country bumpkins living in the mountains, but they unexpectedly obtained wealth that others had to work for generations to earn. What's more, what she didn't understand was what the investors saw in Mist Pine Mountain. The netizens in the livestream room found the news. Wait, I just found something. I just looked it up. It turns out that the investor who developed Mist Pine Mountain is a company with a registered capital of only 10 million yuan. Moreover, it only developed Mist Pine Mountain. This made the netizens couldn't help but think, feeling like the company was established to develop the Mist Pine Mountain. Ashley looked at the comments in the livestream room, feeling a little amused. But what surprised her was that what Kevin had said during their first date was true. Thinking about how she had wanted to bring him into the studio to livestream, she thought it was a joke. Nam no longer had the contemptuous attitude she had earlier. As everyone entered the home, the visit was becoming a big story all of a sudden. There has to be something more that could be done before anyone would go. That's when the opportunity struck. An old woman had collapsed in the field nearby, and as everyone was on their way to assist, it was clear to see that no one was prepared to deal with what was ahead. Kevin, on the other hand, was clear and concise. He was able to instruct everyone around to assist in whatever way they could. He made sure she had enough airflow and got paramedics to drive in, rather than walking and having their response time reduced. Kevin was able to assess the situation and was clear with directions. He made it seem as though he had done something like this before. When asked, his mother said that he was a nurse during the wars. He was an asset to everyone when they needed help. Nam now has a different perspective. She had all the tools she needed to ask all the right questions. But after getting the okay, she tried to turn the conversation sour and said that I had never been in the wars and had a very normal life. As the live was going on, people were trying to say that these were lies. No one really knows. At that moment Kevin lost it and screamed. Why are you doing this? It is over and you just need to take the L and do something that is a real job. Kevin stormed out of the building and was going to ask that they never reach out. As Nam tried to call his phone, it would not go through. He blocked her. Ashley then tried to fix the situation and realized that no matter what happened, it would not make an impact and apologized for her actions. The story had lost its grip and she needed to find new and exciting content. The team decided to brainstorm and find that a lot of the stories were always around wealth. So they were going to reach out and ask for people to give suggestions on how to show off wealth. The next series would be very intriguing and the people wanted to know exactly what would be coming.